Hari Om. Welcome everyone. Today's topic is a beautiful topic because it is music as an expression in the wake of consciousness. Now, music is a form of art that is also termed as a language, which is expressed through thoughts and feelings and transcends thoughts and feelings. The topic is such that when we look at it from music, we need to find out and go back towards silence and consciousness from which everything emerges. From that state of changeless, ever-existing reality, which is pure absolute consciousness, there emerges this changing phenomena, which is an expression of the changeless. Because the changeless is the potential unmanifested aspect, and the manifestation that we see and hear is the changing phenomena as the dynamic aspect, as the manifested aspect. Within that manifested aspect, which is an expression in itself of the changeless, all this is an expression of the changeless. Within the gamut of this manifestation that we see. But music is a language that takes one into a different frequency level at all, completely, because from silence emerges thought. Within the circumstances of this manifestation, thought creates words, language, and that language is expressed through the language of music. And that music obviously is an expression of its core, its substratum, which is silence, which is consciousness. So going back, one can see that music in itself, as is the entire manifestation, is an expression of consciousness. But how does that relate for the aspirant, for the devotee, for that who is seeking that ultimate, to go back to that source from where one came from, to find out one's true nature, which is that pure, ever, eternal consciousness? How does one go back through it? Music is one aspect on that path to revert back, rather than getting engrossed within this manifestation, within the world of images. One of the paths, which is termed as a pathless path, because one is not going any place, reaching any place. One is going from here to now, because it is here and now, that changeless. music is only a mode, a pathless mode, as it were, but a mode nonetheless. So music takes one away from the binding limitations of thoughts, words, feelings, and all these images that we see around us. Because then that entire mind, intellect gets immersed in that music. Because from silence, as mentioned before, from silence emerges thoughts, and from thoughts emerges words, and then that music as well. Then that music takes one away from thoughts, feelings, because it initially starts with thoughts and feelings, but then that very music which starts from thoughts and feelings transcends that very thoughts and feelings. It is left behind, and the mind transcends thoughts and feelings into a different wavelength, a different frequency, to transcend the mind, as it were. For example, devotional music. There are many saints and sages who have immersed themselves in devotional music. In India, they have, Mirabai, Narsi Mehta. For example, Saint Francis of Assisi, one of the greatest saints from Italy, from Assisi. He used to listen to the birds, the, twittering of the birds, the music of the birds, and be completely immersed in that glory of manifestation, to transcend manifestation. That is what music can do as an expression of that consciousness, because it is like a string that takes you from this world of images, leaving behind thoughts and images and words, and to transcend them into back to one's home, the original home from where one came from, which is that pure consciousness, which is even here and now. We are that very thing that we are seeking. We are the changeless, but for some reason, there is a veil of ignorance that is covering, which has to be removed, and music is one pathway. So that vibrational tuning through the mode of music, that vibrational frequency, when one tunes oneself to that frequency, the entire edifice, as it were, of this limited notional I, the ego, which is ever immersed in this manifestation, is transcended, because that notional I, ego, drops away through this method of music, because that mind is transcended to immerse back into that source from where one arose, because that I drops away, and the revelation of that truth, which ever existed even here and now, is revealed. So that synchronicity, of tuning and reaching back to that source is what music provides. It is very, very important for that emotional aspect, that feeling, to come out in the initial stages, to provide the seeker and the devotee and the aspirant on the spiritual path to use that as a technique to transcend those very emotions, those feelings and thoughts. But in the initial stages, you have to use that as a ladder. It is like climbing onto the roof. You need a ladder, and the ladder of thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And once you've reached the top, your goal, the ladder is no more required. Music is the pathway. And when that happens, the revelation of truth, the I, the ego, drops away and is in consonance with that entire cosmos, that eternity. Because eternity is our true nature. Silence is the only truth. We are that which we are seeking. Music is a very, very important tool, as it were, on the path of spiritual growth, to drop away this little I, little ego, which then can be transcended itself. This topic of music as an expression of consciousness is a beautiful topic. It's a truth, because music, this entire manifestation, is also an expression of that very consciousness. Music forms a part of it, but music forms a very important tool to be able to transcend that very music itself. To be ever aware, be immersed in silence, because that is, music itself emerges from that very silence. Silence is the only truth. And music is only an expression of that absolute pure silence. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om. Thank you, everyone.